Welcome to Infidelity Truths. Before we dive into today's gripping story, please take a second to like this video and subscribe to our channel. Your support helps us create more thrilling stories just for you. Let's begin. I never thought I would find myself in this situation. I was a small-town girl with simple dreams, a happy home, a loving husband, and a life free of complications. When I married Daniel, my college sweetheart, I believed I had everything I needed. We were young, in love, and ready to build a future together. We didn't have much, but we had each other. And that was supposed to be enough. At least, that's what I thought. Looking back now, I can see the signs, the moments I ignored, the warnings I brushed off. But at the time, I was too naive to recognize that my life was about to take a dangerous turn. And it all started with one man, Mr. Vincent, our landlord. When Daniel and I moved into the small rental house, we were excited. It wasn't luxurious, but it had charm, a cozy little garden, a quiet backyard, and the promise of new beginnings. Mr. Vincent was already a familiar face in the neighborhood. He was in his early 60s, always wearing a warm smile, always eager to chat. A friendly old man, harmless. He would check in occasionally, making sure everything was fine with the house. The first time he came over to fix a broken fence, I found him polite and easygoing. He shared stories about the neighborhood, reminisced about how much things had changed over the years. At the time, I thought nothing of it. But then Daniel's job started taking him away more frequently. And suddenly I found myself alone. And that's when I started to notice things. Mr. Vincent began stopping by unannounced. At first it seemed innocent. Small talk in the garden, friendly check-ins about the house. But then his visits became more frequent. His eyes lingered on me longer than they should. His compliments became different. "You take such good care of this place," he said one afternoon, watching me water the plants. "A woman like you deserves to be appreciated." Something about the way he said it made my skin crawl, but I brushed it off. After all, he was just a friendly landlord. Right? One night, Daniel was away on business. I curled up on the couch, a book in my lap, enjoying the silence of the house. And then the doorbell rang. It was late. Too late for visitors. Cautiously, I peeked through the window. I saw Mr. Vincent, my heart pounding in my chest. What was he doing here at this hour? I opened the door. "Mr. Vincent?" I forced a polite smile. "It's quite late. Is everything okay?" His smile was warm, but something about it felt off. He said I was just in the neighborhood. "Thought I'd check in on you, make sure you're safe." I should have told him I was fine and closed the door, but instead I stepped aside and let him in. We sat in the living room, the silence between us heavier than usual. "You know," Mr. Vincent said after a long pause, his voice unusually soft, "I've been thinking a lot lately. About life. About what really matters." "That's understandable." His eyes met mine, and suddenly I felt exposed. "Favour," he murmured, leaning slightly closer. "I don't know how to explain this, but I feel a connection with you. A special connection. I admire you. The way you carry yourself. The way you make this house a home. It's rare to find someone who listens the way you do." I swallowed hard, suddenly unable to breathe. "I'm married, Mr. Vincent," I stammered. "I love my husband." But the look in his eyes told me he wasn't finished. He said, "I don't want to cause trouble. But I can't ignore how I feel. I just needed you to know." A thick silence filled the space between us. I felt trapped. Cornered. This wasn't just a friendly landlord anymore. This was something else. Something dangerous. The next few days were a blur. I avoided Mr. Vincent as much as I could, but he wasn't done. The doorbell rang again. I knew who it was before I even opened it. "Hello, Favour." "I just wanted to check in, make sure everything's okay." I gripped the door handle tighter. "Everything's fine, Mr. Vincent." "Thank you." "About the other night. I didn't mean to make you uncomfortable." I forced a tight smile. "I appreciate that. But I need to be clear I'm married, and I intend to stay faithful to my husband." "I understand." But as he turned to leave, I knew this wasn't over. Not yet. That evening, Daniel and I sat at the dinner table. He reached for my hand. "You've been quiet lately. Is everything okay?" "I'm just glad you're home." Because no matter what happened, no matter the temptations, the doubts, or the dangers lurking outside our home, I knew where my heart belonged. And I wasn't going to let anything destroy that. Not now, not ever. For a while, things returned to normal. Mr. Vincent didn't come around as often. When I saw him passing, he only gave a polite nod before going about his business. I thought I had handled the situation. I thought it was over. But I was wrong. One evening, Daniel and I were curled up on the couch, watching a movie when my phone buzzed. A message. Unknown number. "You looked beautiful today. The blue dress suits you." I hadn't left the house all day, except to step onto the front porch for a few minutes. My hands trembled as I typed back, "Who is this?" 3 dots appeared. A response was coming. Then, unknown number, a friend. I turned to Daniel, my heart racing. Should I tell him? But before I could decide, another message came in. Unknown number. "I hope you're sleeping well tonight. Sweet dreams, favor." The messages didn't stop. They came at odd hours, early in the morning, late at night. Sometimes they were simple compliments. Other times they were deeply personal. "You have the softest hands. I wonder if your husband appreciates them the way I would. I miss our little talks. You make the world feel warm." Every message made my stomach twist in knots. I blocked the number, but the text kept coming, always from different numbers. Then one evening, I made a horrifying discovery. I was doing laundry when I found something in the hamper, a neatly folded handkerchief, but it wasn't mine. It smelled faintly of cologne, an unfamiliar scent. I held it up, examining the initials embroidered in the corner. T.T. Vincent. A wave of nausea hit me. How had this gotten into our house? A new, terrifying thought crept into my mind. Had he been inside while I was asleep? I knew I couldn't keep this to myself any longer. That night, as Daniel was brushing his teeth, I walked into the bathroom and placed the handkerchief on the counter. "What's that?" I took a deep breath. "It belongs to Mr. Vincent." Daniel asked, "Where did you get it?" "In our laundry basket." "Are you telling me he's been in our house?" Tears burned in my eyes. "I don't know, but the messages, the way he looks at me, Daniel, I think he's been watching me." The next morning, Daniel stormed out of the house, heading straight for Mr. Vincent's front door. I followed close behind, my heart hammering. Daniel banged on the door. "Vincent, open up." A long silence. Then finally, the door creaked open. Mr. Vincent stood there, his expression calm. Too calm. "Daniel," he said with a small smile. "What a surprise." Daniel shoved the handkerchief into his chest. "Care to explain how this ended up in my house?" Mr. Vincent's gaze flickered to me, and for a split second, I saw it. Something dark behind his eyes. "I was wondering where I left that. I must have dropped it when I came by to check the plumbing a few days ago." He was lying. "Stay away from my wife. Do you understand me?" Mr. Vincent held up his hands in mock surrender. "Daniel, there's no need for all this aggression. Favor and I have a good relationship, don't we?" I felt sick. Daniel took a step closer. "This is your final warning." A slow, amused smile spread across Mr. Vincent's face. "Or what?" Daniel was seething. I grabbed his arm. "Let's go." After a tense moment, he turned and walked away, pulling me with him. As we stepped off the porch, I felt Mr. Vincent's eyes burning into my back. And then, just as we reached our door, I heard him say, "Be careful, Favor. Not all men can protect their wives." That night, Daniel installed extra locks on our doors and windows. We barely spoke. The weight of the day sat heavy between us. Around midnight, I lay in bed staring at the ceiling. Then, a noise. A faint click. I turned to Daniel, shaking him awake. "Did you hear that?" He sat up. Then we heard it again. Someone was trying to unlock our front door. Daniel leaped out of bed and grabbed the baseball bat he kept under the bed. I followed, my heart in my throat. We crept toward the living room. A shadow loomed behind the frosted glass of our front door. The only thing left behind was a single white envelope. Daniel picked it up and opened it. Inside was a single note written in elegant cursive. "You should have chosen me." My blood ran cold. This wasn't over. Not yet. Daniel was furious. He wanted to storm back to Mr. Vincent's house and end this once and for all. But something about that note, the way it was written so carefully, so confident. I convinced Daniel to wait. Instead, we decided to install hidden cameras around the house. If Vincent tried anything again, we'd have proof, or at least that's what we thought. That night, I barely slept. Every little sound made me jump. The wind against the windows, the creaking of the house settling, the distant sound of a dog barking. Then, at around 3 a.m., I heard footsteps. Software. Slow. Right outside our bedroom door. My breath caught in my throat. I reached out, shaking Daniel awake. "Someone's in the house," I whispered. He sat up instantly, listening. Then, silence. For a moment, I thought maybe I imagined it. Maybe it was my paranoia. But then the doorknob turned. Daniel grabbed the baseball bat, jumping out of bed. He yanked the door open. No one was there. But something was. On the floor, right outside our bedroom door, lay a single red rose. Daniel picked it up, his jaw clenched. "That's it. We're calling the police." But just as he said that, we heard a soft, low chuckle from somewhere inside the house. Not outside. Inside. We rushed through the house, turning on every light. We checked the living room, the kitchen, the bathroom, nothing. Then Daniel checked the back door. It was unlocked. "Daniel, what if he never left?" We both turned toward the hallway. The only place we hadn't checked yet. Daniel grabbed my hand. "Stay behind me." We climbed the small ladder leading to the attic hatch. Daniel reached up, pushing it open. He shined a flashlight inside. And that's when we saw it. A makeshift bed, a half-eaten sandwich, and a photo of me taped to the wall, stepping back. That bastard has been living in our house. I felt sick. This wasn't just obsession, this was insanity. The police arrived within minutes. They checked the attic, but Vincent was gone. They took our statement, promising to investigate. But something still felt off. The police confirmed there were no signs of forced entry, which meant someone gave him a key. And that's when I remembered something. A few weeks ago, when we first moved in, Mr. Vincent mentioned something odd. "You'll love this house. I made sure it was perfect for you." At the time, I thought he meant the renovations, but what if he meant something else? I turned to Daniel. What if this house was never really ours? We decided to move out immediately. We packed our things and booked a hotel for the night. But just as we were about to leave, Daniel's phone rang. It was an unknown number. He answered, and a familiar voice spoke. "Leaving so soon, Sarah?" But we haven't even played the best part of the game yet. It was Vincent. I grabbed the phone. "You're sick. Stay away from us." He chuckled. "Oh, Favour, I'm not the one you should be afraid of." The line went dead. I looked at Daniel, my hands trembling. What did he mean by that? But before Daniel could answer, there was a knock at the door. Slow, deliberate. Daniel and I froze. Then before we could react, the door unlocked from the outside. The knob turned. And the last thing I saw before the lights cut out was a second shadow standing behind Mr. Vincent. A shadowy figure stepped inside. But it wasn't Mr. Vincent. It was our real estate agent, Joy. She smirked, stepping aside as Mr. Vincent followed her in, looking smug. "Surprised?" Joy asked, closing the door behind her. She had been so helpful when we were searching for a home. "So kind." Vincent chuckled. "Oh, Favour, you were never supposed to marry Daniel. You were supposed to be mine." Joy sighed, shaking her head. "Men like you, Daniel, don't deserve women like Favour. You take them for granted. You don't see what's right in front of you." Daniel clenched his fists. "You're both insane." "No, Daniel, we're in love." My mind reeled. "You and Vincent?" Vincent laughed. No, no, no. Joy and I have an understanding. She helps me get what I want, and I help her get what she wants. Joy smiled darkly. You... Joy took a step closer to Daniel. I've loved you since the first day we met, but you chose her. Just like everyone else, you ignored me, and now you'll finally see what it's like when you don't have her anymore. I grabbed Daniel's hand. This is sick. Vincent sighed dramatically. You two really don't understand, do you? This house, this whole thing, it was all a setup. From the moment you moved in, we've been watching you. Daniel's jaw tightened. You mean ... yes, Joy said, smiling. We let you think this was a fresh start. We let you believe this was your home. But this house was always his. She gestured toward Vincent. And Favour was always meant to be his, too. I felt sick. All those nights I felt watched. The break-ins, the notes, they had planned it all. Vincent pulled a nias from his coat. Now, Daniel, let's make this simple. You let Sarah go, and we let you walk away. You do. Daniel grabbed the baseball bat from the floor. You're not touching my wife. Joy scoffed. Daniel, don't be stupid. I backed away, pulling Daniel with me. We don't have to do this. Vincent lunged. Daniel swung the bat. The crack of wood against flesh echoed through the house as the bat smashed into Vincent's arm. He screamed, dropping the knife. Joy shrieked and lunged for Daniel, but I grabbed the lamp from the table and smashed it over her head. She crumpled to the floor. Vincent stumbled back, clutching his injured arm. You think this is over? I grabbed the knife. Stay back. Red and blue lights flashed outside. Vincent's face turned pale. No, no, no. The front door burst open. The police swarmed in. Joy tried to crawl away, but an officer grabbed her. Vincent, bleeding and furious, was dragged to his feet. You ruined everything, he spat. Daniel pulled me into his arms. It was never yours to begin with, I said. A week later, we moved out. The house, once filled with dreams, now held only nightmares. Vincent and Joy were charged with breaking and entering, harassment, and conspiracy to commit murder. But one thing still haunted me. Before the police took him away, Vincent whispered something in my ear. I'll be back, Favour. This isn't over. I knew he'd spend years behind bars, but somehow, I also knew he meant it, and deep down I wondered, would he ever really let me go?